Welcome. In front of me is a Huawei P Smart Pro, and today I will show you how to go through the setup process of the device. So when you first boot up the device for the first time, you'll be presented with a welcome screen where you get to choose your language. Now, as you can see, I have a list of all the languages, but I'm going to stick with English, so let's tap on Get Started. And then you have region, so you can select your region. Tap on Next for me. Then in terms of use, now you have to agree to them, otherwise you can't actually proceed with the setup. So let's tap on that and then tap on Next. Insert SIM card. Now this is fully optional. You can insert it or not. You can do that later on as well, and it will literally change nothing. So for now, I'm just going to skip that. Data import will allow you to import, well, data from your, for instance, older device. So you would actually first have to create a backup copy of your device on your old one. Probably the easiest way will be through Google. Then you can choose Google to import it. And if you have a Huawei device as well, then both of them actually have a specific app just to back it up, which you can actually find a video to it. Okay, so for now I'm just gonna set it up as new. Then you have network connection. So again, this is optional. You can skip it or connect to network. If you connect, you will then be able to log into Google. So I'm just gonna connect to one. Stop here, and I'm gonna put in the password. And there we go. So I'm connected. Tap on Next. As I said, you can now log into Google. Now, you can also skip that if you don't want to. You can also create a new account right here, as you can see. Now, I already have one, so I'm just going to use that to log in. Tap on Next. I'm going to put in the password. And once you log in, you will see this, welcome, and basically in terms of service, nothing says welcome as agree to our policy. So just tap on I agree. And from here, you have a couple of things that you can enable, disable, like localization, backups, and stuff like that. So if you don't want most of these, you can just check it off. You also have a description of what it does. Now, I'm not really too concerned about it, so I'm just going to tap on accept without changing anything. And let's go next. Now, here's a voice assistant setup. Now, I'm going to skip this because it's a little bit too long. But basically what it does is if you tap on I agree, it will go through the setup of it, and it will require you to read specific phrases and stuff like that that the device will show, and then it will try to recognize what you are saying and adapt your pronunciation to what it says or what it's written, so it can better understand you later on when you're trying to talk to the voice assistant. But it has a little bit to read there, so there's like I think 10 or more passages that you need to read, and it needs to each one adapt. So I'm just gonna skip that for now by tapping on no thanks. But like I said, you can go through it and set it up as however you like it. And then you have the Huawei ID, which you can completely skip that as well. What it does is allows you to access the Huawei specific apps, as you can see right here. So you have the Huawei Gallery, their wallet, some health app, and a couple other things. So you can log into this, and then you will have the access. You can also skip this and do that later as well, or just never use those apps at all, because for the most part you can probably find most of the substitutes for them anyway on the Google side. So I'm just going to choose on later. And then cloud, again optional. You can enable the cloud or disable it by skipping it. What it will allow you to do is just keep data instead of in your device on the cloud, but this will be using your mobile data. So if you have a limited amount of it, I'll probably skip that. And then you have device protection. So here you can set up the fingerprint or password. If you choose fingerprint, you will actually have to set up a password anyway. So I'm just gonna go with the fingerprint just to show both of them. So because fingerprint requires additional ways of unlocking, it sets you up with the PIN. Now you can change the unlock method right here by tapping, and it gives you the pop-up. So you have 4-digit custom PIN, which this is the custom PIN, pattern or password. Now each one of them is all self-explanatory. Now I'm gonna choose pattern because that's primarily what I use most of the time. So I'm gonna draw the pattern and then redraw the same pattern once more and tap on done. It should take me to the fingerprint setup. So as you can see, it gives you an animation of what you're supposed to do. So you want to start scanning your finger on the power button. The power button is a fingerprint sensor. Now scan the finger that you will actually be probably using. So for me, probably right now would be the easiest to scan my index finger, but because the phone is actually used, normally you hold it like this, you probably want to scan your thumb. So keep that in mind. And when you're scanning your finger, you want to get a good read of your entire finger. So make sure you basically scan each part of it by tapping in different areas. So let's just see. You can also see I'm kind of moving it around. It also gives you a little indication in the red where you should place your finger, or what part of your finger you should place. It doesn't always work the best, considering, for instance, I'm pressing the area that it wants to, but it kind of like rejects it. Okay, so there's actually more, so let's try to go through it a little bit quicker. There we go. So once you have added the fingerprint, you can rename it. Now I'm gonna keep it as it is, just to skip the hassle of it. And then you have some more services that you can enable or set up later. So I'm gonna press on no thanks. Then you have some Google experimental programs. This basically gathers data on what you're doing in a way and tries to, I guess, improve quotation mark on your experience. So again, optional, you can go through it and read the entire thing that they say. I'm gonna choose later anyway. Update manually, so it doesn't actually go through anything right now. And we should be now in the home screen, as you can see. So the device is now fully working with everything set up. So if I lock the device now, let's use actually a different finger so you can see. So if I try to unlock it and I'm not using the finger that I have added, I'll have to put in the pattern. Now if I'm using the finger that I have added, I just can tap on it. I don't need to actually press it. As you see, I'm not actually pressing it. I'm just touching the sensor and it automatically unlocks. So yeah. And yeah, this is how you would go through the setup process of your device. And if you found this very helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.